weather cold, the weather so chill, chilly, willy, penguin feather road. Cause I'm sipping pro, yeah, that meth is promethazine, yeah, stepping stone. Oh, they acting up, get your weapons wrong. They only killing time, another second gone. I heard your man at home, now you melatonin, but you acting young, and you hella grown.
Welcome back.
I know we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, we kind of was missing an action for a week, but it's all good. We back.
Yeah, back like we never left. So, episode 6 of Keeping Up with the Joneses. We here. Been gone. We were well rested.
Yeah, we was on vacation. I went to go see my dad.
Shout
I
out to
ain't
Pop.
seen him since Christmas, so that was fun. That's why we kind of just, time went by when we was trying to record the episode, because I was just too excited, and that's all I could think about. So, yeah, sorry about that. But we back.
Yeah.
With what the topic is, the timetable for caring for a child that's not yours. So a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a few people said that this was a good choice of topic and everything, and they would like to hear our opinion on it. But I mean, even though we don't have any kids, we still have experienced the actual situation. Cause my dad got remarried, so before they got married, he had to take my sister Sean, under his wing and everything, and care for her. And I just feel like it's not really a whole lot that has to, because if you love that person, and you've been with that person for a while, then that child just automatically becomes your child, even if it's not yours. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, what was you gonna?
Me and my experience is like my younger brother has a different father than I do, and his father was pretty dope to me. He was a pretty cool guy. Raised me properly from the little time he was with me for a couple of years, but the little time raised me properly. Whatnot. And I had to say nothing wrong with my dad. My dad's dope, but it's just like my wife was saying, it's a way that you go about it when you're dealing with somebody else's child. And also it's like I feel as though it's like a certain time period in which you do get to be around a child, especially when you're dealing with somebody that has a child, whether it's a male or a female, don't matter. But it's a specific time period as to how long you go before that, because who am I? I can't tell nobody when y'all decide to introduce y'all children to people.
That's based on your better judgment.
It's definitely a way how as you go about it and whatnot, because you don't want your child calling everybody, or seeing everybody, every dude or every shorty that you ever been around. I look tired.
Me too. I ain't,
But
bare face to face.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look more interesting. But yeah, it's my experience. I've seen several situations where a couple of my friends have dealt with somebody who's had kids, and they put a lot of that weight on them. That they supposed to do this or do that, like right out the gate. Like, yeah,
that we don't really agree with as far as first date, or even just the first couple dates and hanging out or whatever y'all do. It shouldn't be required for a man that you are just showing interest in, or a woman that you're showing interest in, to have to cater to your kids if they are they're just trying to get to know you first to see if they even like you. I don't feel like your kids should have to be brought into the relationship before there's even an actual relationship, if that makes sense. I feel like it's definitely some time now. We're not saying a specific amount of time, like you have to wait, a certain amount of time, but I just feel like you should know when the time is right to introduce a man or woman to your kids. Cause I just feel like, parents' intuition, you're just gonna know when it's going to be that time when you feel like, you know what, I could see this man, you know, caring for my child, and I feel like, you know, it's about that time to introduce this man or woman to my kids. And especially depending on the age of your kids as well, because you know they're like really young, like babies. It's not really gonna matter, but if they're like, you know, 6, 7, you know, 5, like those are kind of like impressionable ages where you, like how he said, you don't want to bring them, you know, multiple men around because then they're gonna get confused, you know, as far as like who, you know. There's just going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of questions. And my mom always, you know, was straight up with me as far as, you know, men who she was around. But she will only tell me if she felt need to or if they were going to be around quite often. I just feel like you should have that type of relationship with your child and be honest, you know, because if you lie to them, you know, you're lying to them. That's not good, you know, because then you're going to teach them when they get older to not lie. But their whole mom, you know, is lying to them about, you know, stupid stuff that you could just be honest about, and that, you know, they can take from that. But when they get older, they're going to remember that, you know, how you carry it with people that you dated and everything.
Not really. Yeah. I mean, that covers that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just.
I guess
part of me, part of me, just you know,
a lot of bug bites.
Part of me, this is just me ranting, but you know, part of me takes issue with bringing you know somebody else around your kids too early. Mm-hmm. That's why we just said, you know, as far as like the timetable, because like I don't know, it's just me personally. You know, I don't have kids, but you know, if I did, and let's say, you know, it was by situation, let's say, you know, me and Brittany was getting serious and I had kids outside of her, or, you know, or a child, you know, I ain't gotta have like multiple kids, but, you know, let's say I just had a child, you know, and, me personally, probably would be about maybe 6 months, 6 to 8 months until
I feel like that's solid.
Until Brittany even until I have to go to whoever I had the kids with to even think about, hey, you know, pretty serious about this person, you know. Mm-hmm. I might want them to meet my kids, you know. Mm-hmm. Might not be at that moment, but you know, it might come up, you know. Yeah. But at least the talk and the dialogue has started at that point. But because I feel like that's enough time for you to, you know, pretty much have felt out someone. I feel like any relationship that's been around for 6 months, that's a decent amount of time for you to have gotten your feet wet at least. You know, I ain't saying you got to know everything under the sun about the person. But you should know the basics. But you should know a bit about a little bit. You know, mm-hmm. You know, because 6 months is a long time out of somebody's life just to be dealing with one person. Just saying. But yeah, that might be a future topic. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's a solid amount of time, and then like, you know, sometimes it's easier meeting younger children, but boy, you know, older children, yeah, that's when the difficulty comes in, because it's like older children, like teenagers, already got to establish who their parent is, so it's like
they might get a little spiteful if you know you're trying to bring another. You know, when you're dating, period. Not even if you're being serious about the person, but they're going to pick up that you're going out, you know, not usually the times that you go out. Like, they're going to know, kids know, you know, they're like, above like 12 or something like that. They're going to pick up that you're going out on dates. Like, you're not about to just go to the store randomly at like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you know, and be gone for like hours, you know. So that's where that whole being honest comes in, you know, comes into play. You know, you don't have to tell them everything, but at least, you know, depending on the age, you know, be honest within that age as far as, you know, how much you tell them and everything. Like, for example, you know, 5-year-old or something, yeah, I'm going out with with one of my friends and everything, you know, keep it like that so they don't think, you know, don't lie and say I'm going out with your Aunt Gina or something like that, you know, just just keep it 100 with your
Yeah,
kids.
keep it a bean.
That's all you have to do. It's going to work out way easier than you lying to them and trying to hide. Don't necessarily hide your significant other or whoever you're dating from your child. And again, it doesn't have to be the extreme where you tell them every piece of detail about it, or but just let them be aware that you are dating. That's what I feel like. And then whenever you feel like that time where you feel comfortable introducing your kids to them, or ask them, make sure that's communicated too. Do you even want to meet my kids? Do you mind meeting my kids? What would be the set it up, what would be the proper time and all that type of stuff. That's good to communicate with whoever you're dating too. Don't just pull up with your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all,
what?
not to discredit your point, because that is like a very valid point that should be done. But if you have to ask somebody, do they want to meet your kids?
Well,
they might. That might be a red flag.
Not
that's
saying
just saying.
ever. I'm just saying as far as
that's what
right
I say. I'm not discrediting.
Yeah.
Your point. Like what I understand. In the terminology that you mentioned in.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in in a sense like some people don't like kids, so they just and
definitely
like,
make sure they like
lie.
Kids before you. Yeah.
Some people lie.
Some people lie and be like, yeah, they do, and then when it comes down to
no, I mean like people like they'll lie and won't tell about their kids.
Oh,
there's some messed up individuals out here that'll do that.
Yeah.
Y'all know I ain't tripping, man. There's a bunch of y'all out there to do this for
y'all be out here welling, capping.
No, y'all be on. What is that? Who started
I just
that?
be saying that.
I know, but who started that?
I don't know. I think it was on a song or something.
No, I think did Future start that capping business? I don't know. I seen him comment on the junk. He's that junk with the show. Sorry, y'all. We off topic. But yeah.
I think it Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just going.
I was gonna say I think it's easier when I don't know, but I would think it would be easier if you both have kids. I feel like that's kind of a win-win. And you probably can introduce,
you see a lot more of that too.
Yeah,
you see
I
a lot
feel like
more
that works out better because you both are in the same situation. You both have a child outside of each other,
and you both understand.
What comes with that. So, not saying you just look for a guy or woman that has kids, but it would be easier to go about it that way because then the kids can play. That can be a thing, play date, and then y'all all go out to eat or something, anything. But yeah.
Shout out to my cousin Lee and his wife. Happy
anniversary, y'all.
Y'all the prime suspects of this topic. Not to say y'all are like a bad example, but y'all are
like the perfect, like what I just said. Y'all both have a child.
That's what made me think of. But yeah. Sorry we can't be there.
I know. We're gonna make it up to y'all though.
Technical difficulties.
Silly.
That is what it is.
Life, adulting.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of like, how this could go negative, Oh, prime example, bet. But see, I mean, there's other factors to this, but it's just more so of a example of how this could go wrong. Yeah. As far as like, the timetable of dealing with somebody else's child. Because, we watch, I don't know why, well, not watch, we listen to the Strawberry Letter a lot. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's funny. Some of the people be putting some stupid stuff up there. Yeah. But I distinctly recall it was one letter when this lady, her and this guy got they were boyfriend and girlfriend, first of all. They weren't married. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. And they both had kids outside of each other. She, I believe, had a 10-year-old and she had a 10. He was younger. He was, her. I think she had a son that was 10, and he had a son that was 15. And his 15-year-old son. Now, me personally, I mean, I don't see what was wrong with the 15-year-old son, but basically, the 15-year-old son just didn't want to be bothered. He wanted to be in his room,
which is the typical teenager.
Yeah, they both shared the house. The shorty and the guy shared the house together.
Was he in the military?
A kid? No, he would. I think he was driving trucks or something like that. But either way, he would be away from time to time. Mm-hmm. And both of them, the guy and the girl had the house together. they both had kids. The kids would come and stay at the house from time to time for different various of reasons or whatnot. And the shorty was the one who wrote the letter, basically saying like she has her child and shit, and her child understand, which, in my opinion, it's a 10-year-old. 10-year-old that's still a kid or whatever.
And then the strawberry letter is just kind of like you only get one side, you don't get the other person's side, so we're just basing off of
what we think. And basically she had an issue with the dad not having control of his son, because his son, like I said, he just didn't want to be bothered. He would come home from school, whatever it may be, go in the house, go straight to his room,
play the video game,
play his games or whatever. It's not established if he did his homework or not. I can only assume maybe, because she didn't speak on his grades or anything like that, or speak on his academics or anything like that. She just would say like he would just be very distant, which, excuse my French, but if I'm dealing with somebody else's child, 15-year-old son, and he don't want to be bothered, that's cool with me, Go in your room, bro. Like,
exactly.
That's cool.
I feel like that is easier because then you don't have to
be bothered. You ain't got to be in his face, and it can be numerous of reasons,
Right.
And like I say, it could be numerous of factors that factored into that specific situation. But the dad pretty much wanted the girlfriend to, put up with the son, like raise him, like and whatnot. And he was not trying to do anything. Like he wasn't trying to communicate or get the son right. And that's where I found the problem with it. Like, in that specific situation, like there's multiple factors, but the gist of it is, when you have somebody else's child, and you're dealing with somebody else's child, they sometimes they might just have certain ways about them, especially the teenagers. They might have certain ways about them. Teenage girls are a certain type of way. Teenage boys are a certain type of way. It's just like a thin line.
Right.
And hers. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna speak on. I just don't agree with the girlfriend, because if y'all both bought the house and you share the house and your child stays there, why is it such a problem?
Yeah, she didn't want him staying.
She didn't want him staying there, because supposedly in the letter she said that he mainly comes around when her boyfriend is gone, pretty much. Like that's what she had the problem with. He would mainly come over only when, the boyfriend is gone. But I'm like, if y'all then bought a house together, you both have kids, and your child stays there, I don't see how that's going to be a problem, because eventually I'm assuming you plan on getting married. So that's going to be an everyday thing. He goes to work, that's going to be your stepchild. So I don't see what the problem is, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Cause like I said, like we were saying, like it was a lot of factors. Because for one, maybe the son didn't want to be there,
Right.
Maybe
he wanted to go to his mom's house.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to be with the mom. Maybe the mom didn't want him there, so he's like feeling some type of way about that. Maybe he just don't want no interactions, When most of the men that watch this show can understand being a teenage boy at one point, and not wanting to, you want your little you time and stuff like that, you want your little space and stuff like that. You don't feel like being bothered at times. Which
He probably was texting his little girlfriend or something.
Yeah, he probably was macking to the biddies or whatever.
FaceTime and all that.
You want his privacy and stuff, and she's probably like that type, that want to be all in his face and want to, know what's going on. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with you trying to establish a dialogue with someone else's child, that you're dating. It's cool, but
let them have their space.
Yeah, it takes two to tango. You can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. You wouldn't want to do it, so of course they're not going to want to do it. Just saying. Right. But it's a lot of factors. It's a lot of things that you got to take into consideration as far as like dealing with somebody else's child. You gotta understand that it's a two-way street. The child has an opinion. That's a living, breathing human being. It's not like that's just somebody that's just forcibly being told that they have to do that. All parties in the matter has to have to come to an agreement and an understanding that this is what's happening. And
discipline too.
yeah,
that becomes an issue, I think, too, when kids are bad and
yeah. See, and that's the thing right there too. That's a real tiny thin line, but most of the time, I don't see that being an issue because that really wasn't an issue with me because I know I got in trouble.
Right.
I came broke bad at my brother's dad. And I'm pretty sure you got broke bad at too when it comes to Nikki or whatever. Excuse me, Nikki. I ain't mean to drop your name, but yeah.
But it's gotta speak for everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody's situation. It's a lot of kids that especially nowadays, are kind of against their mom or dad dating someone else. I mean, it's always been like that, but kids are kind of outrageous now.
Kids don't understand. Yeah. That's the whole point. That's why it goes back to what Brittany said. You gotta keep it honest with your kids. You don't explain to your kids, hey, me and your dad didn't work, or me and your mom didn't work. This wasn't what it was.
Don't bash your your child's mom or dad, whichever. Don't bash them in front of your child. That is so wrong, because let them figure out who their parent is really. If they just was messed up towards you and in the relationship, but they're a great father or mother, don't bash them in front of their kids, because that don't have nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with them at all. So don't bring them into your perception of them just because you went through whatever you went through with them. Let their child, figure that out on their own, and build their own type of relationship, and don't keep them away from, their child and everything and stuff like that. Because that's gonna make them resent whoever you date regardless, because they just want to, have a relationship with their own parent as well. So that can be a problem too. They don't have a relationship with their biological, it's going to be kind of hard to sit here and introduce them to someone who isn't their father or mother, and try to, especially if you're lying about it, or, just bring it up out of nowhere. You just have to be careful with that type of stuff, because kids be known.
Be careful. Well,
oh yeah, we're at like 22 minutes. So
last thing we'll leave y'all with is
you're irritated.
Yeah, I bet y'all mad. Y'all just paused that whole time trying to figure out what I was gonna say. But no, on a serious note, the last thing I'm gonna leave y'all with is just be honest with your kids. Be honest with the person that you're with. Keep it 100 and establish dialogue as much as possible. That way everybody is at an understanding, everybody gets what's going on. And for these people, don't bring your kids around other people like that you dating like too early, because it just confuses everything. So just be smart. That's all, basically.
Yeah.
Be smart. Be careful.
Alright, but
we tired of looking at y'all. See y'all later.
Let us know what y'all think. Let us know your opinion. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube page.
We're halfway through the season.
Yeah. We somewhat through the season. How many episodes?
Don't worry about all that. We'll figure that out when we tell them. But anyway.
Love y'all. Appreciate it.
Deuces.
See y'all next week.